Hey, yo, what's going on, man? Welcome back to my channel. This is a brief video, breaking news. FX30, FX6, FX3 just got a firmware update. I know y'all been seeing some videos dropping on it. There's tons of people talking about it already, so I'm not gonna really get into like all of the intricate details of it. I'm just gonna kind of cover what interests me. You know how I do. I'm not like on that YouTuber thing where I'm trying to sell you nothing. I'm just trying to keep you informed and let you know what works for me. The first thing I want to talk about is the pro features that they gave these particularly the FX30 and the FX3. The FX6 was already, in my opinion, a pro camera, as well as the FX3, but I don't know about y'all out there, but I know for me, this is big. Now, I've always adjusted my cameras for whatever I'm shooting, whatever frame rate I'm shooting for anyway, but there are times though that I forgot to do it. And I've switched from 24 to 60 frames per second, and I go back and look at my shutter speed and it's at 50. And that's gonna be a problem when it comes down to slowing down the footage. So, or even my exposure, because basically it's an exposure tool for the most part. For those of you who don't know, the shutter angle is an exposure tool so that you can get proper exposure for the frame rate you're shooting at. So if you're shooting at 24 frames per second, you want to be at 50 frames per second, because in the US we can't do 48. And if you're shooting at 60 frames per second, you want to be at 125, because we don't have 120 in the US, so we go to like 125. But now you don't have to worry about that. You have an option, you're gonna have an option in the camera to use shutter speed or shutter angle. Typically you wanna use shutter angle because this will allow you to just go from different frame rates without worrying about changing the shutter speed on the camera. So that's clutch for the most part, that's clutch. And a lot of times you don't wanna be on a set where it's crucial, you're getting paid to do this job. You don't wanna be in a position where you gotta record some sound bites, and then you got to go from recording a sound bite to an actual 60 frame per second B-roll shot. So you just want to be able to do that stuff on the fly without worrying about the shutter speed changing or having to be changed. So that's why this is so important. So this is just a quick video I want to drop on y'all, man. It's not, it's major to me and it's major to a lot of people. So if you have an FX30, FX3, and you're considering to pick up one in the future, just know that this is going to be the firmware update. The firmware updates that's coming for the FX6 is going to be sooner. Those are looking like in like April or May. They're looking at dropping those. But for the FX3 and the FX30, those firmware updates are looking somewhere around September. That's what they said, September. But it could be September, late September, early October. So it's just kind of like that, which is good, because if you're spending $2,000 for a camera and up, you kind of want to know that at least the manufacturers are thinking about your camera in future specs, in future terms. So at least there may not be a FX3 Mark II or FX30 Mark II anytime soon. There may not be, but sometimes when they do these firmware updates, it's an indication that they may be thinking about one. And so when you buy the new one, it's gonna have some other new stuff, and this would already be like the given in it already. So let's say, for example, the FX30 Mark I, right? The one we have now would have shutter angle. That'd be the big deal for that one. But then they'll drop a Mark II right around the same time that already have that in it, and some additional stuff that makes you feel like, damn, I already have the FX30. This is a dope firmware update, but they dropping a new one that got this in it, plus 3 more other major things. So that's, I don't know that for a fact, I'm speculating, but a lot of times that's how they do. That's what happened, if I'm not mistaken, that's what happened with the FX3. They had the Sony A7S III just dropped. I ran out and bought it, dope camera. And like a few minutes later, they dropped the FX3. And it was just like, I had just bought the camera. Fortunately, I was able to take it back to the store because I was still in that grace period, and returned it and got the FX3. But that's how they roll sometimes. So just kind of a heads up. Think about it from that perspective. But if you're on the fence and you want to pick one up, you want to check more out about it, I got a link in my description. You could check it out, the FX30 in particular. FX3 as well. You can go check it out. And if you want to know about a really great lens that you can use on there, a starter, you just bought it, you want a nice lens, light. You could put on a gimbal. You get some nice photos if you want, or you can get some nice bokeh in your video. Check out the Sony 50 millimeter 1.8. It's a cheap lens, tune some change. It's not a G Master, it's not weather sealed, but it'll get the job done. If you want to know more about that, check out my video I dropped about that. I'm talking about that. You could go check that out. But anyway, man, till the next time, I love y'all. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for keeping the channel going. And hit that subscribe button, that like button, that notification button. And until the next time, man, move in the vibration of love. As always, peace.